And welcome back to Hannity. We have some more bad news for the president tonight. Some of his most loyal fans and supporters in Hollywood, they are starting to finally come to terms with the fact that he might not be as perfect as they once thought. Now, for starters, Kris Jenner recently lashed out at the president for his disparaging remarks about her daughter, Kim Kardashian.
I bet the president has some friends with 10,000 square foot houses, and you probably wouldn't mind going over there, Mr. President, while you were asking them to have a party for you when you were campaigning for, dollars to run for president. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that Mr. President's job affords him to live in a 55,000 square foot house. So basically, my house would fit in his entry.
Checkmate. And moving on, left-wing actor Matt Damon, who has always had a thing for the president, kind of gets thrills up his leg. He recently told BET this.
He broke up with me. There are a lot of things that I really question, the legality of the drone strikes and these NSA revelations. So, he's got some explaining to do, particularly for a constitutional law professor.
And last but certainly not least, conspiratorial film director, former Obama supporter Oliver Stone. He took issue when the NSA surveillance programs, and he had this to say. Watch this.
Obama is a snake. He's a snake. And we have to turn on him.
Ouch. Obama, a snake. It appears Hollywood had it right on something, because there is breaking news just moments ago from the Washington Post. They said, quote, the National Security Agency has broken privacy rules or overstepped its legal authority thousands of times each year since Congress granted the agency broad new powers in 2008, according to an internal audit and other top secret documents. Most of the infractions involve unauthorized surveillance of you, the American people, or foreign intelligence targets in the U.S., both of which are restricted by law and executive order. Here with reaction, radio talk show host, actress Janine Turner, and Democratic strategist Penny Lee. Penny, this has got to hurt. I almost feel bad for him as he hangs out in his $8 million mansion that he's renting for the week.
Let's just say he's not taking, nor has he ever taken advice from actors or from directors that are out there, such as Oliver Stone. Look, this issue of the surveillance is one that has split the country. Both Democrats and Republicans both have issues with it, and it has been for the lack of transparency. You have some that feel that Snowden was a traitor and some that feel he was a patriot. So this is something that's not only dividing Hollywood, but it's an issue that's divided both Republicans and Democrats across the board.
Janine, it's kind of ironic. He's in an $8 million house hanging out with the elite 1% or 0.01% in the country at Martha's Vineyard. He lives in a house we pay for, flies in a jet we pay for, helicopter. Didn't Kim Kardashian earn her own money?
Well, yes, and I think that's a pretty ironic statement for him to say something of that nature when under the circumstances of how he likes to enjoy his life. I will say, though, that I think with the culture, it is important that we step back and take time with our children and our families to turn everything off and have conversations and bring in faith and say, look, this looks exciting how they're living their lives, but that's not all there is to life. There's more of a purpose.
Yeah.
So I can kind of understand his point a little bit, but as far as the entrepreneurship and the ability of free enterprise and to grow and aspire and dream and make your own money, that was inappropriate.
Yeah, you think? I mean, when did becoming successful, Penny Lee, become a negative, pejorative, the evil 1%? They're not paying their fair share. When did that become so bad? I never got a job from a poor person.
Well, and we've all seen this. I mean, it's been through, remember back in the day with Robin Leach, The Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. We've always had shows that are like this. But I agree that it is about going back to your children and having those conversations about what are the values, what is the values behind the hard work that it takes to make those riches, what it is about that it takes to be able to make the entrepreneurial spirit and other things. So I think that is the conversations I absolutely agree. Those are the conversations that we had around my dinner table when we did turn off the television and when we did talk about what kind of character we wanted to be, what kind of values our parents wanted us to see and to live every day.
What about the snake comment, Janine, that Oliver Stone made?
Well, the first thing I'll say about that is I think it's unfortunate he said it on foreign soil because I think that it stops here in America. If we're going to condemn our president, we need to do it here, not on foreign soil. So that's a little unfortunate. I mean, if it had been they're saying something about a Republican president, we would have been all up in arms, a la the Dixie Chicks. However, I think he has a point. Obviously, he has a point. We have a government that's tyrannical because it's so big and so huge. We have bills that are being passed, like the Patriot Act, that was too incomprehensible, too voluminous. Nobody knows what's in it, and now the circumstances are happening where we don't know what's happening. Thousands of laws are being broken, and it's like with Bush, we felt okay, a little safer with it. With Obama, I feel it's a very dangerous situation.
Well, actually, I do support the Patriot Act as it's written, and we brought Jim Sensenbrenner on this program, and this was to apply to foreigners or Americans in contact that were suspect. This did not have this broad application in any way. I support data mining, but not the way they're doing it. It's against the law. If you read the law, Penny.
But Sean, the whole reason why we had the recent Supreme Court case was because it had been violated under George W. Bush. It had been able to have mission creep, and you did see the spying or the alleged spying that you were starting to see on domestic. I agree. It is pervasive. I agree with you that it has gotten out of control, and we have a FISA court that is done in complete secret with no denial of any warrant that is out there. So it does need to be reined in, and we finally need congressmen and senators who have said that they never attended a briefing because they couldn't have staffers there. We need them to do their duties and have that oversight to be able to track these things and to be able to put the right safeguards so we don't have this pervasiveness of surveillance. I think the American people are willing to give up some liberties and some freedoms for the sake of security, but this is above and beyond what we've seen.
Jim Sensenbrenner wrote it. We're not following the law that's written. I just find this interesting that if it's the health care law, he unilaterally makes his decision whether to support it or not, Janine. And that's the problem. He doesn't want to obey the laws that we have. He just seems to think he's above it. Is that a problem?
Well, and that's what was interesting. That's what was great about Matt Damon's remark. I was glad to hear him, use the word the Constitution and constitutional law and the checks and balances, and that's what we are under a tyranny now. We are. It's the tyranny of big government. It's unaccountable, and the executive branch needs to be kept in check. And with the Obama administration, it's turned out to be really, really difficult for the legislative branch to keep the executive branch in check, and that's the danger right now with everything that's happening.
All right, guys, good to see you both. Thanks for being with us.